is on the screen first.
Uh,
And people will periodically, what's up? It's just turned on. Nobody's going to be in it because nobody knows. Oh my God. Tell me that it's starting. Oh, here we go. Here we go. All right, come on. Come on, come on. Shit. There we go. Come on, man. Damn it. There's 7 people in right now. I know you guys. And shit. And I'm also aware that I gotta turn this off. That his name's not on there. That it is his that it's the StreamYard link. You try to jump on. I mean, maybe I wouldn't care after a while. Anyway, his name's Ron. Give me just a second. Let me make sure I got everything going. I got a big delay in the stream. Excuse me. I was gonna go on at 7 o'clock, and we were having problems with the StreamYard link. He's about as technology literate as I am, I guess you would say. So anyway, so this is Ron Coleman. He's a friend of mine. We did some time at FCI Terre Haute together. What's up, Ron? Thanks for joining tonight, bro.
what's going on, guys?
Okay, so here's what I want to do. I like to start beginning, middle, and end. So tell me about your childhood growing up, if you will.
Okay, so I grew up in a how you explain it? I had my dad and my mom for the most part. My dad was in and out of prison throughout my life. In about 2000, when I was about 13, they split up. So it was just my mom and I, and that's about when I started my criminal activity. It was like a rebellion against my mom and just the whole system and period.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it was good. My mom was a great mom. She tried her hardest to do what she could, but I was the peers I'm around and everybody, we were all just like feeding into the negative. So we were just criminals.
So and let me ask you this. You didn't get high much as a kid, or did you as a kid?
I smoked a lot of marijuana.
Did you?
Yeah, I was a pothead, totally.
Okay, so but as far as the harder drugs, did you get into them?
I did a little cocaine, but later on in life, I did some ecstasy when in my early 20s.
Never got on the meth. Never got on the meth train.
Never did meth, heroin, any of that stuff. No.
Okay, so when did you first get in trouble? How old were you?
I was 12 years of age, actually.
And what was it for?
I got in trouble for just some random thefts and a robbery at an early age.
And when did you first start going to prison? Was it juvenile or adult?
I got sent away when I was 13 to a place called Pershing, Wisconsin. So before that, I was in like the detention center and the youth centers here in Cedar Rapids.
Okay, all right. And for how long?
I did. So they sent me away. I did from 13 to 15 in the Wyalusing. Then I came home, messed up. So I had to go back. So they called me the boomerang. Made fun of me. So I was back. So I went back till I was I was there 6 months, came back, committed we went and beat this dude down pretty bad at this high school. So they sent me away for attempted murder till I was 18, and the local, a place called Eldora. And then I got out. Then from there, I committed some burglaries, did a bunch of county jail time, ended up going to the state system here in Iowa. Got out of there, and then ended up catching a money laundering beef and had to do 4 years for that. And then the feds picked me up for the same crime. They gave me 262 months.
And that was for conspiracy to come, is that the marijuana charge?
Yeah, conspiracy to distribute marijuana, conspiracy to commit money laundering.
Okay, and you got 262 months. What's that come out into years for people?
It comes out to 2110.
2110.
Yep.
Okay, and off the 2110. By the way, let me stop quick. I just realized that my camera's blurry. I don't know why, a little bit, but anyway, Iowa boy, nice. I got cousins there. It's from Joey. Okay, let me back up. I didn't realize you were state raised until just right now, to be honest.
Yeah.
For real. I mean, shoot. So,
Yeah.
so wait a minute. Your first adult prison term was what?
I did it was for burglary, and it was for burglary, and I did it in the here in state.
Okay. And how much time did you on state bit?
Here in Iowa, I did 8 months, and I was paroled. And then I did it. Well, I had to do this like youth offender program right when I was 18. So that was like a scared straight type program for the state of Iowa. So I was on probation and violated. So they sent me there first, and I came back, and then I just was a knucklehead, still doing what I was doing.
So how did you get going on the pot thing?
So my mom and my dad sold pot for almost all my life, so it was just something I already knew about. But no, so I don't know. All my friends were smoking pot and everything. So I just looked at my wife one day when we were struggling and was like, "I'm gonna start selling weed." She was like, "You can't sell weed." I was like, "Man, think about everybody we know." So I bought a half an ounce of shake weed is how I started the whole thing. I sold that, went back, and they still had some shakes, so I bought an ounce of that, and from there it just took off. So about a couple years later, I got a connect down in Arizona and started moving weight from Arizona to Iowa.
Yeah, you didn't do Mexico, did you?
Yeah, the connect was out of Mexico.
Okay, because I just right now I just started remembering a little bit. I swear before we came on, I forgot about your background, but as you started talking, then I started remembering stories you were telling. That's why I just said that.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
It was
wh-
cheaper. It was cheaper to buy it over there, but higher risk of moving it. You know what I mean? They wanted half down on that side, and then for them to move it across the border. So it was just cheaper to buy it in Tucson. A little less of a risk, not cheaper, just a less of a risk of your money.
yeah. So, excuse me. By the way, you guys, again, if you guys don't know, was supposed to start at 7 Central, 8 Pacific, I mean 8 Eastern, and we were having problems with StreamYard, so we just jumped on while we had the chance. So I just want everybody to know that. Back up. So how did you get busted?
How did I get busted by the feds?
Yes.
Okay, so we were down in Arizona, and my little cousin was the driver for the most part, like was the money driver. So he would be to transport the money to and from. Gets pulled over, sets up basically tells the police what I'm doing. They come to the hotel. They really don't have nothing to hold me on. Let me go, but I'm on parole up here for the burglaries. So then they call my parole officer, pick me up on that. While I'm sitting in the county jail, and then Arizona charges me still because they have the conspiracy bullshit too. Basically, they can, with the evidence that was in my phone, the story he told, the money, the car being in my name, they charged me with money laundering.
So yeah, so how much for the money laundering and how much for the pot?
How much for the what? The money laundering in the state of Arizona?
Yeah.
They gave me 4 years, which was 85% down there. So I ended up doing a little over 3 years, and then I had to do the parole. So basically, 85%, and you do 100%. You do 85% in inside, and then you do 15%, the other 15% on state parole. And what's their parole is different than ours. So if I would have violated, they would have just, there was no going to court and then them sentence me back. Is they pick you up, they take you to a place called Alhambra, and they process you and finish up your 15%. You can end up doing 110% down there. They've changed the law since then, because this was back in, I got out of there in 2005.
Okay. And what was Arizona prison system like for you? Where'd you go?
I started off and obviously in Alhambra, and it's like a classification center. So they just move you from room to room to room until you're classified and you leave. So I got to a place called the Mazanita Yard, which would have been like I'd say like in the feds would have been a low security. And it was real political. Just like the Fed. Yeah, it was just like the feds. That's how I learned about the political aspect of feds before I even got there. So everybody separated, everybody ate differently. You had your own TV, so you didn't have to worry about that. But yeah, it was a long ways from home and culture shock.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I seen some violence. I seen a guy get stabbed in the county jail with a chicken bone. They sharpen a chicken bone and get stabbed in the neck. You know what I mean? That was my first real experience for violence in prison. Here in Iowa, it was just fighting, you know what I mean? But there, these people were starting stabbing each other and stuff. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
I see some dude get twice. I seen some guy get stabbed with a chicken bone. When I was in the prison, another guy got stabbed for a dope debt. Basically told the guy, called him all kinds of vanities, you know what I mean? Told him he could do sexual things if he wanted it, and he ended up stabbing him pretty much to death in the chow hall. But you got to think about the chow hall. There was I'd say it's a 20 by 15, maybe 25 by 20 room. So they shut the doors and they start macing. And we're locked in this. So we're locked in this room, and we're gagging. Then they drag us out. It's like 110 degrees, and they want us to lay, as they're dragging us out, they want us to lay on the ground. It's asphalt, so we're all fighting for this little piece of grass to try to lay down on. It was horrible.
Oh yeah.
It wasn't that bad, actually. You know what I mean? As long as you mind your own, don't get debt, just like any joint.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The mace, when they did that at Cimarron, they sprayed some guys, and it goes everywhere. Everybody gets it. It sucks. Real quick, Doug Ross, do I have PayPal? I do have a PayPal account. I don't have a PayPal card right now. If you want to send it, obviously Cash App, that's what I have, Cash App or from here. The Cash App is no more prison cell. No more prison cell. So that's the Cash App, Doug. But I do have a PayPal. I just don't have it figured out yet, man. So, okay. What year did you go down in the feds?
The feds picked me up in 2007 for a crime that I committed in 2002.
That's what, okay. So 5 years. Okay. They came back. What was the total weight of your conspiracy?
605.79 kilos.
Okay.
It could have been worse if the old lady, the wife told, but she already knew the game from other people we know to caught feds. So she told just enough, but not the whole story. You know what I mean? Because she knew that she told, it's basically like this in the feds. If she would have said the whole story, they would have put all that weight on her too. Get it?
Right.
So she knew to minimize just enough to get a cut.
Jim Joyce, I'll go back to that. We'll go back to that in a few. Okay, so where did you start off? You get sentenced. How'd you feel when you got sentenced? Did you you obviously knew you were going to get that much time at some point, right?
Right. So my lawyer, when I first went down, told me that I'm looking at 15 years unless they filed the for career offender and if they put a leadership role on me, which they did. They filed both of them. So I got the leadership role and they career offended me for the burglaries that I committed when I first went to prison.
Oh, okay. Okay. Where did you start off at?
I started off in Leavenworth, Kansas. I lived in what I live 30. I started out with 32 B. I lived in C house.
Yeah.
C, I think. Yeah, C. No, C
Oh,
was the small one. So it's A B. I lived in B. No, B is crossed away.
so
I
B,
forget.
B, okay, there's B and around then there's A and C are on the other side of the rotunda.
Right, they're the bottom ones. So I lived in the second floor one.
Okay,
This,
I got you.
you're not in the C house in in the A building. So A2. I lived in A2. Yeah, duh. A2. Duh. A2. Cell 332, right on the end, right there by the ice machines and the microwaves and stuff. You've been there, right, Rob?
Yeah, I did 5 years there.
So you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yep, right where there were the units separate because there weren't like B house where there was the old ones. There were the new ones where they had the two separation with the two guard shacks, the one at the beginning, the one in the second half of the building.
Yeah.
Yeah, right there.
Okay, so was it did it turn into did you hit it when it was Doug Ross, thank you. Did it hit it did it hit did you hit it when it was a pin first or was it an
No,
FCI?
it was an FCI. They closed the pins down in 2005, so I hit it. But
Okay.
it was still structured and ran, and some of the people that were there as a pin
No,
were
let me
still
tell you.
there.
So for those of you guys that don't know, even after Leavenworth, that yard has run like a little pin. And I do know somebody there right now. So I don't know if you even know that. There was like a gun found there and 2 pounds of meth last
What?
year.
Wow, I did not know that.
Yeah, and they've got a lot of political issues going on. I got people. I know a couple people, and they're bitching about it big time. And it's nothing like it was back in the day with the older cops. You
Yeah,
know,
that's the thing about the federal prison. All them older cops, if you gave them respect, they gave you respect, and they didn't talk crazy to you unless you asked for it. Unlike the new ones, huh?
yeah, man. So
But
so you stayed there how many years?
I was there from I got there in 2007. I got in an altercation
Thanks,
with
man.
the unit manager, so they shipped me out of there after losing my paperwork. That was before they used the new system. They kept saying, "Oh well, we didn't fill out a paperwork," so they stuck me back in the hole forever. And then they ended up sending me to Terre Haute Pin, but it wasn't what Terre Haute is now.
Okay, so before I leave Leavenworth, how did you like Leavenworth?
It wasn't bad actually. You know what I mean? There's a bunch of big Iowa car for the white guys, and
Oh yeah, for sure.
it was all right. My only complaint would be probably everybody's there. The yard always smelled like cat urine everywhere. You know,
Oh man, fucking
you
cat.
know, all them cats, and you'd have to come in and wash your clothes and take a shower. Well, you should do that anyways if you're on the yard, but you just if you didn't wash your clothes, your cell would smell like piss all the time.
So it wasn't exactly that bad when I was there. But yeah, I get it. Okay, so what year did you go to Terre Haute?
I 2012.
This is the pin. Okay, so everybody out there that might think something. So the pin was an actual normal regular USP. It did switch. What year did it switch over?
14 November 14, they called it Operation Whiteout. They started taking everybody off the yard in November of 14.
November 14th. And it shortly thereafter or before whatever, you came across the street.
Right. I came with Mike Miller, and me and him were cellies. I came there at the end of February. I think it was the last day of February of 14. So right before they did it.
Okay. And so what it is now, it's basically there's a lot of transgenders, PC, kind of kind of hideout joint, whatever you want to say, gang dropout, right?
Right. It's a horrible yard now.
Yeah. Okay. So
Sex
what did,
offenders, all that.
so you came in 14. So I was there in 14. That's where we met
Yeah.
up. Where did you start off at FCI Terre Haute? What block?
M unit with you. No, you were living in C then, right? No. Yeah.
C. I was in
Yep.
C.
Yep. I lived in M. I stayed down there until they started rotating everybody, and they moved M unit into C unit.
Yeah, that's when you came down when they're doing the renovations, I guess it was.
Yep. Yep.
Okay, so while you were there, you became you worked out at Prison Industries.
Yeah, I worked at I started off in the kitchen there. I was there for a while. I got set up so we were taking food at the end of the shift, like after everybody was fed, and the cop wanted to save some of the pork for something else, but so the line was already served, so we were taking it, but I got set up by some DCs because it was their turn to cup and they got scared and I had to order for food. So I took it, but they didn't let me know. The cop come clear from the cop, the officer's mess, which is clear across the kitchen. I let him walk up on me. They set me up. So I got fired from there. And then I went to Unicor as a loom mechanic.
Okay, so what do they make in that factory for people who don't know?
They made we made towels and blankets for the US government.
Okay, and how much did you make?
I started off at like 80 cents an hour. I ended at like $1.25, but at the end of my career at there, basically at the end of my time being at Terre Haute, I got tired of being there and I had a second job at the R&D, so I kept telling them I didn't want to do it anymore, but there was a couple cool officers who like just come in a couple of days a week and they'd hook me up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so let me back up because this is what people want to know about. What's the worst, I guess, act of violence that you've seen when you're in the joint?
Well, I seen a dude get stomped out and thrown in a shower in Terre Haute and basically convulsed to death, just laid in there and convulsed till he died. I seen a dude get stabbed on the yard and just sit there and walk around in circles because he didn't want to tell on the other guy and just ended up croaking out there. I seen a real good one, and when I was in Leavenworth, some Indians just sitting there, like the wall there in Leavenworth was falling apart, so they had bricks, and they were just beating each other for like, I don't know, a half hour it seemed like before the cops even came out. I seen some Serranos and Norteños. This was like 2 months on the yard. So I've been there about 2 months. And they were taking Serranos off the yard, and there was a beef between SIS and the Serranos talking about because they like on site, they fight, try to kill each other on site, right? So they had Norteños in the shoe, and the SIS is like, we're going to release these. And everybody that had a problem with the fence that was going up and that, they just started shipping people. Well, if there are still Serranos from refusing to put up a fence or some other altercation still in the shoe. So they let the Norteños out, and they're on the yard about 2 months. Then they let the Serranos out, and we're going out to the yard. And then they noticed who each other were, and they just like rushed each other and were like stabbing and stomping, and they were shooting off. Like I could hear the siren going off. You know how it tells you to lay down.
Oh yeah.
Then it goes into Spanish. Then they're like, we're gonna shoot live rounds. And next thing I know, there's dirt clods flying up, and I was like, but I was just stuck. I was just amazed, like what do you do? You know what I mean?
It was real. It was real.
It was real. So I was like, you know how they had the bathrooms by the guard shack on the other side of the
Yes.
pavilion? That's where
Yeah.
I went and hid. That's where I went and hid. And then they stopped shooting. The cops come out, and I was laying there, and this guy got back up and started stabbing this other this other guy, and like pulled the SIS lieutenant off him, like pulled it off the dude so he could stab him. I was like, I said, "Oh man, I'm just a weed dealer. Why am I here?" You know, reality check.
All right. So were you around any organized crime figures were you around any mob guys?
I can't remember their names. So my neighbor, my next door neighbor, was a true mafia figure from. Hey, how you doing, son? Look, I'm on YouTube, buddy. Give me a little bit, all right? I love you. So I forget his name, but he was a Kansas City mobster, and they kept pulling him out and charging him, even though he'd been in prison for like ever, still charging him with conspiracy acts. So he must still been active in it. So they were pulling him out. Then I was in a Terre Haute. My other neighbor was a little short dude out of New York, and he was like I don't know, like an underboss.
Okay.
Combo.
So stop right there for just a second. This is a really good point I want to make. Okay. It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
This is a really good point I want to make. So I have a channel that does have a lot of people that are interested in the mob life, right?
Right.
But so when you were at Terra, there was some mob guys there, and I'm trying to think all there because I was in the hospital with some. Anyway, there was not tested. So anyway, but here's the thing: in the prison, they're not that important as people might think. Is what I'm trying to get at.
No, they're like just like any other, like you got your gang members that are high ranking, but they're in the population. We know who they are, but they're just another guy. You know what I mean? You give them your respect, but other than that, yeah, no, they're not like what people think they are.
Not at all. So maybe like even when I was in Lewisburg, where there was a stronghold, they're so wrong about, like, they think they're and this isn't a criticism, people. This is not a criticism, but they're not running stuff like that. So, and this is the way it was explained to me, and it makes perfect sense. A lot of those guys made money, have money, and have big money or whatever. They just want to stay out of the way, which is nothing wrong with trying to be model inmates, right? But the gang members don't have the money, or even if they did during that gang life, they're the ones who control how things really go in the prison system. The mob guys don't. They're irrelevant in that way. Largely irrelevant. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. But I don't know. Yeah. Yes. But you don't cross them though.
No, I hear you. You can pay people like the dirty white boys to do something.
Yeah, don't cross them.
I'm not saying. Again, that's not to be disrespectful.
No, that's more. I think that's more just to stay out of the way. Like that's how I imagine how they try to MacGyver through life, anyways, on the streets in the shadows. Not so much out front. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, they're not. Oh, and I know. Listen, I know. There's some people I know that have funded certain things in that life. You know, people think I talk about just everything. There's some things I won't say. Believe it or not. Believe it or not. But I mean, I'll get to the line. But okay, so how? I guess you were there. Did anybody ever approach you about gang stuff or not?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I like we all did. We all associated with them, but you know, when I was in Leavenworth, you had a lot of the different Texas gangs because they got hit by a hurricane down in Beaumont, so they shipped a lot of them guys up there. So we had a lot of the Texas brand, the Aryan circles, then we had all kinds of white gangs there. There was all kinds of them.
So many white gangs now, man. It's crazy. It's crazy. So Um, Terre Haute. So you stayed there how many years?
I went there from 2012 and I left 2023. So
Okay.
I was there, then I got my points dropped instead of, like I told you the other day, thought they were putting me in for halfway house, but the case manager didn't like me so much, so he put me in for a transfer instead.
Okay. So did you get out on any early release type of thing?
Yes, I got the what Trump enacted, the first
First
step
step
back.
back. First step back.
So I was ineligible for that for the longest time because I had a leadership role in a marijuana conspiracy. So that's what they were telling me. But I kept, like everybody, like yourself, Rob, you got to do your own research. No one's doing it for you. You got to do it for yourself. So I kept reading it, reading it. And I caught the case manager when he was coming by. And I was like, hey, why why am I eligible? And I think this is wrong because I've read this law like 20 times. It didn't say nothing about anything about marijuana or a marijuana conspiracy or leadership role. And he's like, put it on a piece of paper and submit it to me. So I did what they call a cop out. So
Yeah.
I filled out a cop out, handed it to him. 2 weeks went by and I was like, hey, did you ever look into that? He goes, oh, I forgot to tell you, didn't I? Yeah, you're eligible now. So my whole world changed at that point. So instead of me looking at years still, because I ended up getting 9 months for that, and they gave me a year for basically a halfway house for the time I've been in prison. So I got out 19 months or a year and a half early.
Okay,
So,
let me back up for people that might understand. So the First Step Act, which is the reason I got out, there was a bunch of different law changes. And what happened was on methamphetamine and fentanyl, I think, or heroin, I forgot, meth and something else.
right,
If you were the leader organizer of the conspiracy, such as he was, you were ineligible for the other reductions in the law. Okay, well, he was a marijuana offender, but the staff was telling him that he was ineligible because he was leader organizer. So what he did is he kept just going back and rereading, right?
correct.
And he would go back and reread. And finally, he approached one of the counselors and said, listen, I'm a leader organizer of a marijuana conspiracy, not a meth conspiracy. Therefore, I am eligible. So then that's when his time started getting shaved off. Now, I'm going to back up, but let's just go there first. So you went from Terre Haute and they just, all of a sudden, boom, you're gone. They shipped you.
Right. So yeah. So instead of putting me in for a halfway house, he put me in for for a transfer. And I ended up going to a not so reputable yard, which when I so when I got there,
where did you go? Where did you go?
I went to Lexington, Kentucky.
And what did that do to your prison career?
Yeah, I was crying inside. I was like, man, this is gonna ruin my prison career. So the whole time I was like, I was only there. So I got there. I knew. I was thinking to myself, man, I got to beat one of these dudes up. I got to beat one of these dudes up. I got to stop
wait, Ron, wait. Let me explain to people. So Lexington, that was in the narcotics farm going way back. It's now a hospital / a whole bunch of sex offenders. So and that's anywhere in the hospitals. It's like even Butner had a bunch. But what happens is when you've been down and you've got a good jacket in prison, and I'm here to tell you this guy had a good jacket. He didn't have any drug problems, gambling. He was not that guy. He was quiet, but he was with everybody. But he's a model. He didn't get any trouble, but he was a convict and there with us. Let me put it that way, okay? But he has a good reputation. So when they went to send him to Lexington, it's like he knew there was going to be a bunch of chomos there. But did you understand how bad it was really going to be?
No. So I get there, and inside I say I'm crying because I'm like, oh my God, I just became eligible for this, but I can't walk this yard. I can't do it. And I'm not going to check in. So I'm like, oh, I'm going to have to go beat one of these dudes half to death. And deep inside me, I'm like, I want to anyways, you know what I mean? Because once you were in prison and you accept that the mentality is these people deserve it. That's what you thinking in your head, and you cheer that type of stuff on, which is a dark place that prison takes you to. You know what I mean? That's a whole nother subject there. But so I get there and I'm thinking that, and I happen to get up and be headed to chow in the morning. So this is the second day, and I have no idea. And this guy pulls me over and goes, "Hey, you're Mr. Coleman, right?" And I'm like, "Yes." He goes, "You need to come to my office at 2 o'clock to start. We're going to start your halfway house paperwork." So at that point, I was like, "What do I do?" You know what I mean? So I chose to come home.
You did the right thing. You did the right thing, bro. You did the right thing. Don't fuck that prison shit. Fuck what everybody. Fuck. You did the right thing.
So I chose to come home, and anybody that would be in that position and say they wouldn't do that. Yeah, there's people that are doing life sentences that we know and higher like penitentiaries have been like, oh, that's fucked up. You're fucked up for that. You know what I mean? But they are not looking at coming home. Most of those people.
Well, fuck that mentality when you're in for a halfway house. But so tell them about Chomo shot callers. Brandon, I'll go back to that.
So throughout the BOP period, you hear about these yards that have Chomo or sex offender shot callers or leaders like shot callers like everybody else has. You know what I mean? Not so much. The independents really don't have shot callers. Yeah. They just got somebody that speaks for you, as in, you know what I mean? But I get there and this dude introduces me to this guy, right? And what he said was he was the SOBs or something. And in my head, I'm trying to think of what gang is the SOB. I've been in prison forever. And I'm like, I've never heard of these. And I was like, what kind of gang is that? He was like, that's the sex offender. That's the sex offender shot caller. And I was like, you know, excuse my language. I was like, you effort, what are you talking about? Don't ever do that again to me. Well, I don't give a shit who those people are, man. I didn't need to know that. You know what I mean? Like, in the back of my head, I was like, this shit is for real. They do have those. You know what I mean?
They do.
And I was like, oh, it was just sickening because that place truly catered to those people. And there was like a lot of them on that yard. And you know that there's a lot of people that have 401k or 51. What is the charge you get?
5K1. Cooperating agreement.
Right, and Rule 32s. You know what I mean? Just by how they're talking. So basically, I really didn't talk to anybody in the 4 months I was there before I went home. I just sat there and because yeah, you know what I mean. I brought the by myself.
So look. And I tell, so I went from having cancer to the hospital to Butner 1. So that was like the real one. You know what I mean? So I already experienced that, but it took me 9 months to be able to at least not be mean to him. You know what I mean? But I had the cancer, that yard was sweet and all that stuff. But look,
I didn't say I wasn't mean. You know better.
Man, I forgot. So everybody out there, this is a shit talking, sarcastic, make you want to kill him sometimes, motherfucker.
They'd come up to me and try talking to me. I'd be like, nah, we're not doing that. Get the fuck away from me. And they'd be like, what? I'd be like, nah, go on, motherfucker. Get on over there. Get away from me. You know what it is. I don't have no time for you, motherfucker. Get away from me. I want to stop your brains out anyways. And they'd look at me and move away. You know what I mean? I'm surprised they didn't tell on me.
Yeah. Okay. So Doug Ross, who was the sketchiest of the crews of street gangs inside, like the crew you just rather stay away from or say yo and see who's the worst one of the street gangs? Okay. If you're so I would say not sketchiest. I don't know about sketchiest, but
yeah,
the ones with the most power and the longest reach would be the Mexican mafia, in my opinion. Because the reason is they have a lot of Southsiders or Sureños. They're called Sureños. Sureños used to be out of Los Angeles or Southern California, but now it's become something different. So there's Sureños all over the United States, and most of them, a lot of them will listen to. They worship. The big homies are the MA. I can't. Everybody clowns me because I don't say that right. The MA, but the Mexican Mafia. They have I believe they have the longest reach, but that's just my opinion. What about you?
I think so too, for real. They
Yeah,
do.
for sure.
They're everywhere except for the yards that they can't walk on, but
Yeah.
they're pretty widespread. You got the GDs too. They're about everywhere too.
Yeah.
So there's really not. I'm gonna be honest with you. All the gangs are everywhere, so they all have the most reach everywhere. So the BOP it's big, but it's small because there's somebody that knows somebody on some other yard. So if a guy's messed up, runs up a dope dead or whatever the case is,
he can be got. He can be got.
Just because you're checking in, you think this is the end of the road. No, now you got a jacket. Plus, you're going somewhere that all it takes is a phone call or an email, and that they know you're coming.
Yeah. So everybody, in I don't know about the lows, probably not the lows, but anywhere the FCIs, the USPs or stuff, people come in and they do what's called paperwork checks. Look, if you're on a yard that doesn't want, like, let's say we're just looking for sex offenders. Even me as somebody they brought paperwork to sometimes to check it or something. It's if somebody's so obviously a rat and they'll pursue it. Sex offenders, you'll pursue it. I mean, there was times when I looked at people's paperwork that looked a little sketchy, at Terre Haute, that it was just kind of like, okay, there's might be something here, and I would go tell his homeboys, but if they left it alone, that I didn't push it. Fuck. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So a lot of people don't realize that, like the Rule 32s or 35s or whatever, when they go back after they get sentenced, so they didn't cooperate with the federal government until after they got their sentence, and they got a huge sentence, so they want to cooperate now. They don't realize that whenever they make an appeal, so if you appeal something, and a lot of times your paperwork will show up on the website right there in the LexisNexis. You could just look them up and be like, oh, okay, your appeal, and the judge will say, well, he cooperated with the federal government. He doesn't need no more time down or whatever it is. Like, I don't remember. Well, you remember that white dude that was trying to become SAC? His name was Head.
Yeah.
He was from Ohio. Remember Head?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how Head got busted. And I told him, I said, Head, you can talk all that talk right now, but if you appeal that, all your information is going to be on there. And that's how they exposed him. As soon as this appeal went through and it was on the computer.
Yeah. So there's a legal directory that we do legal research from. It's LexisNexis, and people's cases are on there. Now, some of them can be redacted. You can find out through Pacer. If you've got somebody on the street, which it's a lot of people that run different yards or gangs have easy access. You can have somebody's whole case file rammed. If they've got a bunch of stuff sealed, there's a problem. There's a bunch of different ways to tell. A bunch. Real quick, Doug Ross up in Canada. So right now you're saying that ounces is going for 150 to 300 a zip. They were cheap like that down there. I don't know right this second. Well, actually, I do know that it's going up. I do know it's going up. But yeah. Anyway. So you did stay away from the whole drugs in prison thing. Did you ever get high in prison?
No.
You did.
I drank one time, and how I came at it is I was a smart ass, so I always wanted to be on point and catch me slipping if I'm high or I'm drunk.
Yeah.
Is your opportunity, because a lot of times, a lot of places is if you're intoxicated, you're at fault regardless.
Yeah, and listen, this dude right here will hit you with like below the belt with zingers. So when he says he's a smart ass, I mean, he would hit what it hurt. He'd hit you where it hurts, in jest, but still, you know what I mean? It was, so lot of hustles in prison. We'll watch. We'll watch.
Okay.
So, what's some of the biggest hustles that you know about in prison?
Besides drugs, it's
Yeah.
obvious the spinnerellis or the chew that cops spit out that you could like strain out and dry and
Pig
then
spit, pig
oh,
spit,
oh
or,
gosh,
or we
they
did.
don't
Oh,
they
I
don't
got some in my mouth right now. And you know what I just did? This is what happened. I had it's a pouch, and
Okay.
I put it in a cup that I've been spitting in. And I put it on the top, and I just dug it out, and it was all because I was going to put this back in. Oh, it was so
Yeah.
fucking nasty, and it
Yeah.
reminded me of the hustle. That's why I brought it up because
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, the nastiest part of it, though, for me, was obviously having to strain it, dry it.
Okay, wait, stop. So he got himself in a position in the job where people dig through trash cans. Is this fair to say?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes. So
so
I
you
was
guys,
an orderly, and so I got to dig through trash.
okay, so hot trash is what they call it, is a thing in prison, and that can be anything from an iron to something exclusive. They have a shakedown to all the way up to the cops who spit. They spit usually in jars like this, something like this. They'll spit in it all day. So they got like a can of chew. They go through it, then they spit it all out at the bottom. How much can you make off a can of chew on a reroll?
The most I ever made was like $400 off one bottle.
Off
Yeah,
one spit bottle?
yeah, it was amazing. So I had a boss that would throw it away about every 2 weeks. So he wouldn't want me to change his trash, but he'd always take it to the trash can that I put trash in, if it makes sense.
Yes.
And then I'd just go sneak it back and go through it. And 9 times out of 10, every 2 weeks, I'd make about $300 just off that bag, off
Wow, man.
that, off that lick every time. But that's just him. But there's other officers within that area that chewed too. So I made him at least $100 a day off chewing tobacco alone.
Listen, and I'm telling you right now, he's being very conservative on that. He did well. Okay, that's what I'm going to say off that. So what about the spit? Did you ever sell the spit too?
Yes. So people, yeah, it was disgusting. So people would ask, be like, well, what will you change for the charge for the leftover spit? And I was like, so I'm looking at this as a hustling point. So I'm smuggling back. I could take the tobacco out of a bottle because I'm not transporting it in a bottle and wrap it up in some bags, garbage bags. So I can make that like a real small knot, what I mean, put it inside of a socks or something and transport it back. And they want the whole bottle. So I'm looking at the bottle going, I could get caught with that versus that. So when I tell them the price, they'd be like, no, that's not worth that. I'd be like, that's the point why I said that, because I'm not really trying to transport a whole bottle of spit back. You get it? Because that you only want to give me $5 for it when I can.
And what are they going to do with that spit?
Oh God, it's disgusting. So what they do is they take the chew that I have dried out. So I learned this by my first time. So I dried out some chew and I sold it, and they were like, did you add the spit to it? And I'm looking at them like, and just want to vomit in my mouth and go, what? They're like, yeah, the leftover spit. Did you juice it? They called it juicing it. And I was
Juicing
like,
it.
yeah, did you juice it? And I was like, what are you talking about? He goes, take the spit and dump it back in it and puts the nicotine back in it. And I was like, no, you know what I mean? And I did it a couple times, but I was like, the demand for the tobacco was there. I didn't need to do it. They were buying it anyway. So I was like, I'm not doing that. It's bad enough. So I got like 2 pair of gloves on trying to dry this stuff out on my heater in the summertime and on iron and the heater in the wintertime and iron in the summertime and hot water, taking boiling hot water and putting it on it, trying to dry it out. It was well worth the money, but disgusting as you think about it. But not to change the subject, but the most disgusting thing I ever seen when I came into prison was a guy coming back from the kitchen, and he fucking pulled out a fucking bread bag of hamburgers out of his junk, and he goes, I got hamburgers for sale. And people were running and lining up to buy these hamburgers. And I was just like, seriously? You know what I mean? And they're buying them for like $3 a piece and stuff. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh, that's disgusting. Yeah, about 2 months later, I was like, let me get one of those too, because you're hungry. You're hungry. You're like,
I
oh, man, look.
I was gonna say that's like every day for me. I could, like I bought them from those. I didn't care about any of that.
Yeah, you're praying that they brought it back on your leg,
Yeah.
and they're wearing gloves.
But
Yeah,
I knew,
the prison's nasty.
I knew somebody who would take when they had the tea. Did they take tea out?
Yeah, so you remember the old man?
Yeah.
I don't want to say what.
You're talking about
You know,
JP.
Right, the old man. That was his hustle. So you take the tea,
Yes.
use it up,
Yes.
strain it out, then put then the spin on top of that and sell it as tobacco. He made
And
good money off that.
And I know for a fact on his books he made 12 grand off spit alone.
Yeah,
Just
that's
making tea only, maybe if he can get a little bit of tobacco to cut it with, but it was tea with that spit dip. Brad, by the way, Brad Nicoladius, I didn't see what he said. You asked me about if I saw the interview, Jimmy. I did see other interviews with him, or one other interview I was going to comment about last night, and then I was gone all day and I crashed. But I was going to comment about it, not to go down a rabbit hole, but I was going to comment about that. You guys are talking about that. Oh shit! I just saw somebody right here. I don't know how long he's been here. This is Georgie. But yeah, so I just wanted to talk about that. I knew you were in the pig spit game real quick. Thanks, Georgie. I appreciate it. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Seriously.
my other hustle was laundry. I did a lot of laundry, so I'd charge a book and a half for laundry and R&D, and they'd let me do that as long as I did their laundry first. So I had the personal washer and dryer there. So every day I do 10 loads of laundry at a book or book and a half, sometimes 2 books a piece. So I'd make $50 or so every day off that too.
Okay.
And that was a legit hustle.
Oh, that's right. That's where your job was. That's right. I remember that now. Yeah, you guys had so many. You guys have the guys coming, the new guys coming in, the shoes. Yada yada, on and on. All the exclusive shit. What we call exclusive stuff in prison. Clippers. Matter of fact, we were talking to a friend of ours. So there's going to be guys on maybe tomorrow night. Are you available tomorrow night?
Who, me? Yes.
Okay,
I want to come on with Mikey.
And I'm going to get Augie, and we'll see if I get. Remember Chicali or not?
Yeah, I remember Chicali.
Okay, so Chicali too. Yancey, I'm sure won't come. No, we'll see. Okay, so Doug Ross, could I speak with the Emmy? So, look, I had close relationships with them, and that was just because of number one, I'm from California, so I'm used to being around them. You're backwards.
I know.
Okay. Cool. So I had a relationship with them. I actually lived with Negro, who was way up there. Chino I knew really well, and
what'd you say?
Willie Bobo was he had like the whole federal system for whatever, but he and I were good friends. So I spoke to them often. This was at Leavenworth and Lewisburg, both places. So I was good friends with them. Anyway, so
Dougie's gonna take off running if he's loud.
What's up?
No, that was my wife. She's talking to my grandson. I'm still trying to get her to come on too, because she did 6 years, 10 months fed time too.
Oh, I would love to get it on, because there's nobody. I haven't seen a bunch of females being interviewed. There probably does. The paperwork stain. Oh, so there's a dude named Wes Watson on YouTube, right? Do you know who he is?
I watch his videos. He talks about the California prison system, correct?
Dude, so he talked about that on the yard. He had to hoop his paperwork. That he always hooped his paperwork. That's bullshit. If somebody hoops their paperwork and brings it to me, I'm going to say they're suspect. It wasn't like that. I did CDC time, you know.
Yeah. What's hooped in paperwork?
Hooping, putting it up as, you know.
Oh yeah, no.
Hooping it. Nobody.
No, we need you to send it in straight from the courthouse.
No.
Here's the envelope. Don't open it when it gets here and come see me.
Yeah. Dude, somebody said, I'm going to go pull it out and say, get the fuck out of here. You know? Anyway.
they don't let you have your PSIs or PSRs anymore. The best thing you can get is your sentencing transcripts, because that tells everything.
Okay, let me answer this real quick, Doug Ross. So okay, the Mexican Mafia and the California AB and the Mexican Mafia and the federal AB are all aligned. As far as the other ones, I think maybe some of the Texas Mexican Mafia things down the Texas Mexican or whatever, those guys might be like, I don't know. I can't speak on that. I really don't know. But as far as California, yeah. So the Dirty White Boys were aligned with the guys, Mexican Mafia when I was a part of it and when I was at Lewisburg for sure. So I hope that answers that. What else? What else, Coleman? There's okay.
So let me ask you, have you ever told anybody where your Dirty White Boy tattoo is yet?
That's on my side. That's not on my back. You know about the tramp stamp?
Tramp stamp.
I got a tramp stamp. Yeah, I've talked about it. I got so when I was a camp, I knew you're gonna. There's no telling me. I told somebody yesterday.
Yeah.
So I told somebody yesterday that when I do this interview, there's no telling what this dude's gonna hit me with. So
Yeah.
I had when I was a kid in California, I got a tattoo of the person I was married to once, her name on my neck, and that's not my last wife. This is the girl that I should have never married. And I got San Pedro, which is where I'm from, on my lower back, which was not considered a tramp stamp at the time. Now, I got into the feds in about 98, 99 is when they started calling that a tramp stamp. Well, I never got tattooed. I never got the back piece. I was going to, so I'm still rocking a tramp stamp.
Yeah. So, Mike, you wanted me to bring up when we go out to the yard, Rob was known as the speed walker, and he'd get out there, he'd have his ass poked in the air and be fucking zooming with that tramp stamp shaking.
Oh, I'm gonna get right for that. I'm gonna get right for that. So I did walk every day, but you know what's crazy is that's my natural gait. You know.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So
this guy's like he had no idea people were selling hot trash, man. I mean, I've seen people pull food out of the trash. Hell, I bought some food that came out of the trash. I mean, let's keep it real.
So we there at Terre Haute, there was the camp attached to it. So they'd bring their hot trash over and throw it in our dumpster, our compactor there. So when I worked garbage with Shepherd, that was a huge lick there too. So that time he got in there and he found all that stuff. I don't know if you remember all those packs of cigarettes. There was actually cartons of them he found. That was a lick there too, because you got to think about it, that's $15 a cigarette times 5 cartons.
Yeah, well, I mean, we can say it because they got busted. I mean, there were people from the camp sending stuff in, you know?
Yeah, they know that. The cops know that. That's nothing.
Yeah,
that's nothing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm not giving up anything that just get anybody fucked up. And that's happened multiple over the years. That's in every prison, by the way, where there's a satellite camp. Somebody's got a relative or a gang member that's in the camp, and it's very, people are clever. In prison, you got nothing else to do but think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dude said that you just threw up. He's talking about the chew and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
People are making comments
horrible.
about that.
It was horrible. It was.
But they're saying you got to make some. Listen, I can't say it, dude. Let's put it this way. It was well worth it. It was well worth it.
What was?
You doing that?
Oh no! I came home. You want me to tell them what I came home with? I don't have a problem. I came
Listen,
home.
Go ahead.
In 3 years' time, I went from having maybe $3,000 on my books. When I left Terre Haute, I had $52,000 on my books. In 3 years.
Listen.
The thing about that is the police. If you think that they don't know what you're doing, you're stupid as fuck. So they know
everything.
They know everything because there's people that are jailhouse rats. You know what I mean? Everybody trying to hate on everybody or trying to get somebody out of the way. But
So
the thing about it is if you're not trying to eat the whole pie, they kind of leave you alone anyways. Plus, it wasn't drugs,
that's
and
right.
that's what they're really on the drugs thing, and they know that it helps the prison economy out. So
Yes.
if I'm getting them, I'm selling them to the next guy for the money. As Rob said, he said it before. They buy the stamps, and they Western Union me the money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So just to put it, okay, so stamps are currency, and what was a book? How much was a book? 10 stamps.
250.
250 a book of stamps, $5 for 20 stamps, whatever. So then
Right.
they sell the loose cigarettes for stamps, or they buy it from him in bulk, whatever. And
Right.
then he doesn't want that money in stamps, or he has stamps and he sells it both ways, and that money then comes on his books. Now, he just said he got $52,000 sent to him. Okay. So I know there was during COVID, so they'll even let people deal drugs for so long as well, especially the guys that aren't doing a bunch of violence behind it. But then that always ends up people check in. But also, if the U.S. attorney is working with them, the U.S. attorney wasn't working, didn't want to do prison cases, especially during COVID. So there was guys. I had a neighbor that made $20,000 a month money on his books from selling K2.
Yes, you did.
During COVID, and I remember him. It's one of the little young black kids, and that dude showed me 70,000 on his account from K2 coming to his money, just right to his books. And I used to like trip because that's so easy. By the way, that old man, they didn't confiscate it, but he got hit for fines from his cases, and they went and took his money. But yes, you came home. After all that time, you came home set just on bullshit, not selling drugs whatsoever. That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, it helped out quite a bit. You know what I mean? I got my house, everything, but besides that, I came out with my head right. I got blessed with a great job, and I don't know, the halfway house doesn't mess with me at all, because I don't drop bad UAs. I'm always what I'm supposed to be. I'm basically an ass kisser, if you want to put it that way. I don't use drugs. I'm just not trying to go back to prison, man. I spent most of my life there. I've had enough, but all bullshit aside, it's in our blood. You know that, Rob. It's in our DNA. We always think about, man, if I did this, I could get this. But you just got to keep it in check.
No, just the way I'm dealing with. So I will not. So I danced around criminal element, for a couple of years ago. Even after I got out, I did. I was all in the right places. Let's put it that way. And after my violation in 23, some law enforcement official, that's all I'll say, made the comment. So knew where I was dancing. So at that point, this is the God's honest truth. At that point, I would never go back and even think about it. But that is like one day at a time too, because even since I've been out and I've been broke and I've made no secrets about it. I did make a comment that I came home with strips and somebody offered me $600 for those strips. That was hard not to. That was hard. And I swear to God, I went in there and I threw away all but 2 in case I got sick. But now there's no reason for me to have them, But it is.
That could have been that one time. That's 600, whatever you wanted a piece, had went there and made that deal. And guess what? Rob's doing life again.
Yeah, and just going back and what sucks is prison. Man, prison is so easy. It does, and people. I was even watching some East LA shows, and one of the guys that was from a gang out there, and he was talking about how he's got a lot of homies that are like scared to hit the streets. That when they hit the streets, it's just a furlough because they're always going to go back because that's what they know and that's what they're comfortable. I'm not. It's sad for me to say that it's easy, but it's not a place I want to be, and it's not. It's a place that I'm not going back to, and I will be homeless, broken on the streets before I go back that route. I swear I will. I'm telling you.
Me too. I'm not doing it no more. I agree. Prison is not hard if you move in the right ways. You know what I mean? There's people that come there and their life is just hard in prison. You know what I mean? Just you could
Yeah.
just tell. Then you got them guys that are mad at the world. They want to be all angry all the time because they're there. And I wasn't that guy. Either were you. Even with the before you knew you were getting play on your sentence, you weren't always down and out and hating life. Neither was I. There's this. You come to terms with what you're doing in prison and move. You adapt. There's
Yeah.
no reason to cry. But with that saying, prison sucks. I don't want to go back. It's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
some of them environments you go in, like I said earlier, are just dark, and people are just plotting let's hoping that somebody comes in that's fucked up so they can fuck them off. You know what I mean? And
Yes.
and
Maybe a guy who's up in drug debts and wants an what is it, like an honorary check and move. So they want to go hit somebody, but they're really just trying to get out of the line so they don't have to pay on their debts.
right, so they can walk the next yard. Yeah, there's a lot of that going on too.
Hold on real quick. Doug Ross, so you want me to answer the question. All those new AB crews popping up, does Cali AB recognize them or not? California AB and the federal AB are aligned. I have heard people make the comment about being sanctioned by the California brand. I have been told that's bullshit, but I am not privy to the higher up knowledge. But I would say, if I had to make a calculated guess, I would say that I would find it hard to believe that the California and the federal fraction would want other AB factions. That's what I think. But I don't know. I know Mississippi came close for a minute years ago. There's some documentaries about that. But as I don't have inside knowledge. I'm hearing no. Okay, that's what I want to say about that. Oh, he said okay, so he's got it. So what else? Okay. Anyway, what else, Coleman?
Not much, man. I'm just glad to see you.
Yeah, for sure.
On this side.
Yeah. So what advice did I give you? We're talking about.
So I was still in Terre Haute, and so you know what I mean? You're excited to get out when you know it's coming close, but you're nervous because you don't know what to expect. So I was nervous, so they basically, commissary is what it is. These 3 chips, that's what you get. This 3 chips. So I was nervous about being overwhelmed. Basically, just not going to the grocery store and picking out a bag of chips, and Rob told me just to stick with what I am used to when it comes to stuff like that. And I applied that to everything that's going on in my life today. So when I went to the grocery store, it was what I was. It was a million chips, and you're like, oh, should I try this? Oh, should I try that? And you're just sitting there bouncing back and forth, and it gets kind of overwhelming. It sounds weird, but it's true. So I just did what he said. I grabbed the nacho Doritos and tried one different bag. You know what I mean? And I applied that to life out here. I just basically take it real easy and nice and slow, and they're working for me. It was some of the best advice I got from anybody, because everybody's like, go out with a plan. Go out with a plan. I respect people that come out with a plan, but how many times have you made a plan and you made 9 different turns in that plan?
Oh man. So
you know what I mean?
Yeah. So in my situation, so I'm reading from Rob. And so Rob, I got your name too. I'm not really sure what you mean, but okay. When I had a life sentence, so it was a little bit different. So it's like I couldn't say I'm going to live here, I'm going to go here, I'm going to go here. I got home and it was nothing like I could have imagined it would be. I mean, because my family gave me some property, just it was nothing, and it threw me off because I did have the plan of writing the book deal, blah blah blah, and it never happened because I was going to do real estate. The real estate fell through for family reasons, and then my life fell apart because of drugs.
Right.
Oh, somebody went back here and said, I'm sorry, that they were go to AA meetings. Oh, here it is, real quick. I think this is one of the prisons you were talking about. I'm an Iowa boy raised around Des Moines. This is Steve. Wait, I'm so bad about names. I brought AA meetings into Eldora. juvenile prison. Is that what you said you were at?
Yep, I was at Eldora.
Okay. He said serious place. That's what he just said.
Yeah, I did. I went there. I got in a bunch of. I tried running from there. I got sent to their hole many times.
Did you?
Yeah. So let me tell you about the story of when I got released from prison and the overwhelming I felt there. So
Go ahead.
they sent me down to Penville, and my release time was 1:30 in the morning. So I get up there. They don't have my release clothes. So at that point, I really don't care about the release clothes. I want to know if they have my credit card with all my money on it. You know what I mean? That's the only thing I'm worried about at that point. I don't care about nothing else. The medication they're supposed to give me for everything, they had that. So I had a line for my sister-in-law and my daughter to pick me up there in Lexington. So I go, I'm nervous. They get me there. I get out of the cop car. You know, it hits you. You're like, oh shit, what's going on? You know what I mean? I haven't been out in the world in almost 17 years. So I'm sitting there going, phew. I get off the thing, and then there's a bunch of homeless people, drunk people, few people wanting to get on the bus, but it's not a bus. It's a street corner with a bus sign. You know what I mean? So I'm freaking out. You know what I mean? I'm like, okay, what do I do? Okay, I know what to do. You know, you're talking to yourself, but I'm panicking so bad I can hear myself breathing through my ears. You guys know, if you ever had a panic attack, you know what I'm talking about. So
Yep.
I'm sitting there, and this guy comes up to me and goes, what are you, the police? And I'm like, what, dude? What are you talking about? He goes, man, I just seen you get out of that cop car. Are you the police? I was like, no, I'm far from it, dog. I just got out of prison. Oh, man, I think you the police and wants to fight. You know what I mean? So I kind of tee off and be like, hey, man, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. But look, man, I just got out of prison. It's my prison ID. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Oh, I'm sorry, man. Sorry, man. You know what I mean? I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? Okay, cool. At least you don't like the police. We're on the same team here, you know? So my panic level goes even higher. And I'm waiting for my sister-in-law to show up, and she never shows up. So he's like, here, you want to use my phone? And I'm like, yeah, sure. He hands me the phone. I sit there it seemed like forever looking at it. He goes, what'd you do? Forget the phone number? I was like, no, man, I don't know how to use this thing. Can you show me how to use it? He looks at me like, what are you talking about? I was like, I've never seen one of these before, man. I've never even touched one. This is the first one I've ever touched. Can you show me how to use it? So I'm calling and calling, and they're not answering. So I keep messing it up. So he has to keep showing me. So I'm panicking and embarrassed. The whole thing. Finally, I get a hold of them. They're like, but I've already got on the bus because they never showed up. So I was like, man, I ain't missing my bus. I get on the bus. So we're on the bus. They answer it. They're like, yeah, we'll pick you up in Toledo, Ohio. I'm like, you mother effers, you know what I mean? You're gonna make me ride this bus from here to here, when you know what I mean? But other than that, the phone thing took me a while. I still struggle with computers, but I'm getting ready to enroll myself in a course at the local college
Nice.
to help me get back caught up, because the people I work with, I run a lot of computers, but the people at work have been excellent. They know the situation, and they've been helping me to learn it. I can't believe I still have the job.
Do you when you're around, like, do you shy away from the fact that you're in prison to people, or
No.
do you not?
No, I tell them, like, because I got that huge ankle bracelet on me. So when I'm in the changing,
that's right.
I'm in the changing room changing, and they see it, and they're looking at me like, I'm like, oh, that's an ankle bracelet. I just got out of federal prison, and they kind of like, they shy away for a little bit until they get to know me, you know. Then they know that I'm not a horrible person, or I'm not gonna kill them. But yeah, so they ask, like, so sometimes they ask, sometimes I offer the information. Like if I'm struggling on something, I'll be like, man, I don't know how to do this, and this is why. So there's no beating around the bush of them looking at me why I don't know how to do something. You know what I mean? On the computer, I just say, I don't know how to do this. I haven't done this in 20 years. Can you help me?
Yeah, that's what, even when I call up and Well, before it was, so it was this, what was that?
That's my that's my grandson beating me up. I told you he did.
Oh, that's right.
He's out here beating me up right now. Get off me, boy.
How old is he?
He is 6.
Okay.
He's a bad Spider-Man right now.
Okay. So before with me, it was when I first got out, dude, I would tell everybody I was proud of my story, this and that. This time it's been like totally different. It's been totally different.
Yeah, it's not nothing to brag about. It ain't
Yeah.
it ain't no cool points to this.
Yeah.
It's when you realize how much you missed out on over some money. Money is not worth it anymore.
Yeah, it's not.
Right?
Yeah.
Do you agree?
Yeah, I agree. No, I was reading something too. So the job you got right now, is that where you're going to stay?
Yes, it's a career job, and there's always room for advancement. So get
Nice.
off me.
Nice.
Yeah, so
he just got you, didn't he?
yeah, got me right in the sack. he's gonna get whooped here in a minute. Yeah. So I'll say where I work. I work at a corn factory. Basically, we make gluten.
Iowa. You're in Iowa.
Yeah, I'm from Iowa, corn country. So we make all kinds of sweeteners, artificial sweeteners out of corn, starch. There's all kinds of stuff the plant makes. And
So I'm sorry, real quick, Doug Ross, I've watched Boxer too, and the gangs, so many of the higher ups, so many dudes roll. Once they get into, so many do, anyway.
So it's like this. What
for
I've
it.
seen in prison, people come in, you got just because their paperwork's good doesn't make them a good person. Let me say that first and foremost. Cool. You know what I mean? You're getting rat. That's cool. But you got what used to bother me is the guy that come in with 3 years. I didn't rat. Well, you only got 3 years. What would make you rat? You know what I mean? Good you didn't. I'm not knocking you for not, you know what I mean? It's good that you didn't, but what makes people like for you, myself, and one of my other buddies that had a life sentence that got commuted, he's getting ready to come home too. When people start looking at big numbers is when you truly see if they're going to break or not, if you get what I'm saying. So somebody, yeah, if you're working at 5 years, don't get me wrong, there's people that fucking tell for 5 years right off the rip, but this, 5 year ratting is bad. What I'm trying to say is basically,
I hear you.
if you get 20 years and you didn't rat, you're a strong motherfucker, because there's a lot of people that look at less and be like, oh yeah, what do you need to know?
Dude, eight out of 10 are going to tell, if not more. It's just how it is. It's just how it is.
That's bad.
So Doug Ross, you've been around a long time. He said, I thought you were okay. Doing okay, Rob. You had me fooled, bro, right to the end. I obviously, Doug, going back, because you've been around a long time, I obviously couldn't say certain things because of probation. So I wasn't trying to dupe people, I think what I really duped was myself more than anybody, to be honest. I think I did. That's just the way. And as far as, I thought you were doing good. As far as let me see, but I understand. I got my fucking taken wife. Okay. Yeah, so I lost a lot. And of course that was the worst one, what you're talking about, as far as her, for sure. But anyway, I'm just going through some of the things. I've been called a cop a few times. Okay, so you go ahead. Anyway, go ahead, Coleman. Anyway.
I'm just listening to you, man.
Yeah, I was just going through just in case. He's tough. Haven't been in front of a judge in 20 years. Okay. I slipped up a few times, needed cash. Just know when these guys are solid, been out for years. Yeah, that's true, Doug. Okay. So how old are you?
48 years of age.
How many years of your life have you spent in prison? How many years have you had on the street?
I've had less on the streets than I have incarcerated. So I don't know. I just did 16 and a half. I did 3.5 in Arizona, a year, 2 years in Iowa. Then my juvenile, I spent quite a few. I've had most of my life incarcerated.
Do you, of course, it's easy to say you regret. What would you change if you could? What would you change if you can go back and look at the younger you and tell the older
Not to trust people.
you?
That's the one thing is,
See, I asked you that because you are who you are and you accept it. You know what I mean? So
Yep.
I would, yeah, I hear you. Okay. All right. That's good. All right.
I mean,
Look,
because
go ahead.
there's a lot of choices I made that weren't good, but do I regret them? The only thing I regret is not being there for my daughter and seeing my grandson born. Other than that, you know what I mean? Everybody got old, but when you're doing what you're doing, you know what the outcome is. So to sit here and say I regretted it, you already knew what the outcome would be. Did I know I was going to go to federal prison for 20 years for selling marijuana? Absolutely not.
That's ridiculous anyway. That's fucking crazy.
Absolutely not. They hammered me. Everybody else get 8 years and 6 years, and here I come. Oh yeah, you're going to go to prison for 22. I'm like, what? Did I cry? Yeah, I cried. I had a meltdown in the courtroom. Like, what? Hold on. What did she just say? You know, I got the paper. I'm trying to do the math.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, not to trust people, because when you start trusting people, you allow them to be able to tell on you. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, this is the guy, Doug. He's basically saying the same. He's talking the same. You're right. Yeah. 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 Okay. Well, listen. So I'm gonna go ahead and end it, but I'm gonna get you guys on tomorrow night.
Yeah. Same time, or do you want
Yeah.
to come on?
Yeah. We're gonna aim for. I'd like to. Well, 7's hard for you though, right?
No. I take my 3-hour pass from 11 to 2, and then the rest of the time I'm stuck in the house.
Okay. Okay. So I'm gonna try to. I got to get the rest of them together, and we'll figure it out. I'll call you tomorrow.
All right. Later, brother.
Thanks for being on, bro. Appreciate you.
Yep. Later.
Okay. All right. On. Love you too.
I can shut that window.
What's up, buddy?
Oh shit. Let's see.
I'm trying to end this thing.
What's in this thing?
What up, buddy? I'm still on.
I don't know. I'm having a problem here too. So your face isn't there.
Let me see.
Uh,
I was just looking.
I'm still live streaming, I think. All right.
Yeah, later.
Later. Oh shit, I'm screwed.